Good and decent people of YouTube, welcome to Political Drain. My name is Bruce Lively, and no, you're not crazy. Good and decent people of YouTube, thank you for showing up. This one's going to be a little bit different. Listen, Roland Martin had on his show a supposed co-founder of the Black Lives Matter movement in Rhode Island who now claims that he's backing Trump. He says everybody else in the field sucks, including Biden, especially Biden, and black people are being bamboozled. So I decided to, instead of just breaking it down or giving an alternative reaction, we're going to watch it. We're going to watch it together, guys, and we're going to actually dissect it as it's happening, because this is a study. This is a case study for exactly what it means to be brainwashed. To allow yourself to never ever feel cognitive dissonance and never ask a question that doesn't already conform to your worldview. How this breaks down is so pertinent to what's going on today. I decided to watch the whole thing. We're going to break it down together. It's going to be fun. Check it out.
Folks, we're 1 year away from the 2024 presidential election. Donald Trump's leading the polls on the Republican side. President Joe Biden, of course, on the Democratic side, is likely to be a rematch from 2020 when Biden beat Trump. A co-founder of a Black Lives Matter chapter in Rhode Island says that Donald Trump has done more for black folks than any other president, and actually he is the choice. Mark Fisher is that individual. Mark joins us right now on the show.
It's important to remember as we watch this that he says Donald Trump has done more for black folks than any other president, including the one now. That's an interesting statement. And if that were true, I'd want to know that. That's important. I want you to hold that in your head.
I'm glad to have you here. So first and foremost, when you made an assessment about this campaign, and you basically said nobody is good.
That's right.
Okay. Explain.
Well, I mean, it's self-explanatory. Everybody else sucks, I said, to quote myself. And, when you look at who we have sitting in the White House right now, I said he's a deep disappointment. He's let me down. He's let my community down. The whole Democratic Party is a complete disappointment. And I think that as an independent, I will endorse Donald Trump as the best candidate that we have.
Why is he the best?
Well, because he's somebody who I would consider a strong man. I consider him somebody who would give us respect on the world stage.
You say we don't have respect on the world stage?
It starts early. Why is he the best? He's a strong man. He's a strong man. Now, this black man, supposedly co-founder of a Rhode Island district Black Lives Matter movement, says that he's a strong man and that's why he wants them, even though he, as in Donald Trump, was the main one talking about putting down Black Lives Matter protests with violence. Not only did he allow it, he wanted more. When he was going across the street to hold up that Bible, remember he asked the general if they could just shoot him in the legs? But that's fine. Listen, let's hear what he has to say. But his first answer is suspect. He's a strong man, and this is your deep and educated analysis of why you vote for Trump, because he's a strong man. Then he says on the world stage, this is classic.
You say we don't have respect on the world stage?
I feel like it's waning. I feel like
it's what?
I feel like it's when we have somebody like Joe Biden as the head of state representing us globally, I don't think it's the same as if it's Donald Trump representing us.
President Joe Biden was able to pull back the NATO coalition, which Donald Trump actually splintered during his 4 years. That played a role in terms of what we see happening in with Ukraine and Russia. We have also seen, again, European leaders talk about his leadership. So explain that, because obviously international leaders except for the dictators, they had a totally different view of the foreign policy of the United States under Trump and Biden.
My man here says Donald Trump will give us back respect on the national stage. Roland Martin says, hey, we have respect. Look at what the leaders are saying, and all of them are respecting us openly when they disrespected us openly when Trump was the president. What do you have to say to that? Is there an answer? In order to answer that, you'd have to find a secret dictator or world leader that nobody knew about. In order to answer that and refute it, instead of just saying, well, I didn't know that, this is what a cult member says. They just forget that they brought it up.
Well, fundamentally, they both come from a different perspective. When you look at somebody like Donald Trump, he's America first. Make America great again. Joe Biden is a globalist from a globalist camp.
How is Trump America make it great again?
What does that have to do with the answer? Again, his words. Trump will bring us respect on the world stage. Roland Martin responds. The world has said that they respect Biden. How do you go against that? His response? Make America great again. You just completely ignore the question. Just start talking about something else.
When if you look at Donald Trump, even before he got in, he's been doing business all across the country, doing Saudi Arabia, doing China, and all of his deals since he got out of the White House. So how is he at Make America First when that's not how he's operated in his business all of these years?
Okay, well, when you look at the persecution that he's facing.
Again, wow. This is how you know. There may be no help for someone like this, but the fact that you can recognize it when you hear these type of answers means you can at least try. You at least understand what you're dealing with. Roland Martin let him forget the first question since he went into something else, make America great again instead of the world stage. Now we're just talking about America. Roland Martin comes with a rebuttal. How is that the case when his kids are getting money from everywhere else and making everywhere else rich? How's that making America great again? Once again, instead of facing the cognitive dissonance of that, or even having a prepared answer, because you came on the show, brother, to debate. See, he's too used to talking on Fox News, where they go, that sounds amazing what you just said. Say that again? How Trump was great? No. You have no answer for a rebuttal because you've never had anyone rebut you. This is strange. Because how could you have made this decision as an educated man belonging to a group that meets and talks and refutes each other and go over ideas? How could you have this major differentiating idea from everyone else in your group and never have talked about it or argued with anyone about it before? When did you make this decision? How did you come to this decision if you have no answers for the first things that you're saying as a reason why you came to the decision? Are you lying? Are you paid off? I'm not sure. Are you dumb? Are you an idiot? I'm not sure. What I find is a lot of times in the black community, it's held as a badge of honor to be against the grain. To know that they're all against you. So you go with the one that no one else was thinking. Because that means that you have some insight. He further proves that later on. But let's just see how many more topics he can bring up without answering any of them.
He's been doing business all across the country, doing Saudi Arabia, doing China, and all of his deals since he got out of the White House. So how is he at Make America First when that's not how he's operated in his business all of these years?
Let's find out.
Okay, well, when you look at the persecution that he's facing, 91 felonies.
Huh?
91.
So what, you're saying he should have been indicted?
What does that have to do?
That's not what I said. I said,
I'm mad that Roland Martin doesn't stop him every time he changes the answer. Roland Martin wants to, I know the debate tactic, he wants to lead him into a place where he feels more comfortable debating him and then trap him there. But I do feel like if you're in the public eye, you need to say, wait a minute. I asked you, how does it make America great again? How does it make America first with all of the business deals from outside of America? And your response is, look at how he's persecuted. I need you to answer the first thing first, and then we can talk about the so-called persecution. But he doesn't. But that's okay. He's a smart guy. Roland Martin takes care of business in the end.
Call it persecution, which means that he is being targeted. How is he being persecuted?
Well, Letitia James ran on getting Trump. That was her whole campaign motto. We're going to get Trump. Am I wrong?
The judge in New York has already ruled against them that they actually were inflating the value of their property.
Okay.
Now the trial is going on. No, but you said he's being persecuted. How is he being persecuted? Is he being persecuted in Georgia where 3 of his attorneys, they actually have already pled guilty in that particular case for their role in the 2020 presidential election in Georgia?
Yes, they did. They pled guilty.
Right. So how's he being persecuted, though?
Because they're trying to use them to get him.
No. How is he being persecuted? Did he not, based upon, according to District Attorney Fonnie Willis, that Donald Trump tried to get officials in Georgia to, frankly, change the results of the election?
Look, I could get you to jump off a bridge or to try to jump off a bridge.
Now, here's where we see the absolute melting of the brain. The disgusting disillusion of this black man. He wants so bad to be a part of this other thing because black people have, in his community, where he wanted to make a difference, rejected him. That's what I get from this. Listen to what he just said. They're using them to get to him. No, duh. That's the court case, idiot. Is that he told people to do things that were illegal while he was the president, which makes it coercive. But someone who is completely bought into, I'm only going to believe this thing and everything else goes out the window, I have tunnel vision, you're in a cult at that point. Because what you've now done by saying they're using him to get to them and blah, 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 as if have you read it? Have you looked at it twice? Have you watched the news? Do you know their names? Who is he talking about? I don't think you even know who he's talking about. What you're doing is you're regurgitating something that you heard on a news station that wasn't meant for you, brother. And you never even cared enough to look into it yourself to see what it meant. Now comes the downfall.
And if you jump off a bridge, am I responsible?
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is his reasoning. He thinks Trump did tell them to do illegal acts, but is he responsible if they actually do it? Because they shouldn't have. I'm not sure I have the words to relay how stupid you are, how ignorant of process or law that statement was. If I told someone to jump off a bridge, does that mean they have to do it? No. If you're the president telling someone to rig an election for you and they do or do not do it, makes no difference because you're the president. You're not Joe Schmo on a bridge. It's called coercion.
You do know he's on tape calling the Secretary of State saying, find me 11,000 votes. He tried to pressure the governor, the Secretary of State, the head of the elections. So that's just one particular case as well. In the documents case, they asked him to return the documents. He refused to do so. He lied to his own attorneys about that. He told one of his employees, who is now flipped, do not move those documents. So I'm trying to understand, say he's being persecuted. If an individual committed acts, that's on them. So how is he being persecuted?
Now, he didn't even read up. He didn't even care. It's like when you see these people who talk to crazy Trump supporters outside and they're off the cuff and they say dumb stuff. You think it's just because they caught them off the cuff. No, it's because someone who's in a cult is so ingrained in what they believe, it sounds so true to them that they never even thought about, anticipated, or ever even looked into that there could be another side. It was so obvious, all I'm going to do is say, look at the persecution. And everybody's going to go, damn, I didn't think about that. No, you didn't think about that. And you listen to the first person who told you. You listen to the last person in the room. That's the sign of a stupid person. You've never made a decision on your own. You call this a decision. What it is a lackey.
Because they're trying to use them to get him.
No, not them. I'm asking you again. If the federal government, if they say these are classified documents, you are to return them, he says no. And they say, we have a subpoena. He ignores the subpoena. When he tells his attorneys took actual notes.
Okay, well, hold on.
No. You said it's being persecuted.
Wait a minute.
And that's just 2 cases.
91 felonies. You can't even keep up with all the felonies. You can't even track all the cases across the country.
Actually, you can't.
Yes, you can, brother. Yes, you can. You ignorant buffoon. You embarrassment. They're court cases, documented, paperwork, and a computer. All of them can be followed. You choose not to follow them because you just stopped at Trump. And that was all you needed. Do you get it now? Why did you come here if you didn't look up a single thing to talk about?
That he's facing. You have to take them one at a time. There's so many. They're coming fast and furious.
Actually, we can track them. But again, though, if an individual believes that he is above the law and he's not, if he committed crimes, then he should be prosecuted. Yes or no?
Nobody's above the law. That's not the question. The question is, did he commit crimes?
Well, first of all, that's why they're trials.
That's the question.
Well, first of all, that's why they're trials.
Right, exactly. So, but when you talk about somebody who's acting on their constitutional right.
What constitutional right?
Freedom of speech.
Is there a constitutional right to overthrow an election?
He believes, and as many do, that there was some suspect activity involved in the 2020 election.
How many lawsuits did his campaign file, and how many did they win?
So, but what I'm asking you a question. I don't know. What I'm saying,
you don't know.
I can give the answer.
How could you not know that? How could you say, I'm a co-founder of Black Lives Matter, people look up to me, and I'm giving my endorsement to someone, and I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything that's happened. I don't know anything that's happened since he started running or before. I don't know the court cases. I don't know what he's up against. I don't know the people who are ratting on him, and I don't know why. But you open your stupid, infested mouth to the public and endorse someone with none of the knowledge. You don't know anything. Why did you support him? It's a conundrum.
60 lawsuits were filed. They lost them. Courts, Trump judges, Republican governors, Republican Secretary of State certified the election results. Now, here's the question. I'm confused. If there was election irregularities in Georgia, how did the Republican governor win? The Republican lieutenant governor,
Fact.
Republican Secretary of State.
Fact.
How did Republicans win all statewide offices in Georgia in 2020, but this one race, there were problems?
Good question. Here's the answer. The number one answer of a cult member. Whenever you ask a question that they can't answer, the answer is, because they're all out to get me. Because everyone else on earth is lying but my cult leader. Let's see if that's the answer.
How?
Because they're all part of the same deep state.
Dude, I'm confused. I'm confused. Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, endorsed Trump, correct or not?
They're all part.
I'm asking you a question. Did the Republican governor, Brian Kemp, endorse Trump?
I don't know.
I don't know! again. What do you know, bruh? What do you know? What gives you the right, authority, the means by which to go on TV and tell other people who you endorse if you don't know anything? Because the people who you were talking to on Fox News also know nothing. This is the warning, people. What you've been watching has been giving you platitudes. What you've been watching has been filling you with puff pieces and air. You don't know who voted for who, how many court cases were lost or won, why, what he's voting for, what he's being accused of. You don't know anything. Why did you support him? Why did you endorse him? You didn't look into it? You have no answers. Why did you think it important to do so? Because you felt like a part of a group that was against the grain. So you could call other people sheep.
He did. Did the Republican lieutenant governor endorse Trump?
I don't know.
Did the Republican secretary of state endorse Trump? Yes. So again, I'm confused here. All of these Republicans endorsed Donald Trump, yet all these Republicans won. He didn't. He's saying, oh, it's fraud.
So, like I said, when you look at the government, both parties.
Oh, no. Say again.
Thank you, Roland.
And Republican.
You mentioned persecution, and there are 4 cases. You mentioned
especially the Democratic Party.
Hold up. You mentioned 91
And
indictments.
here he goes.
It's a mortgage.
Number 2, here comes the second one. Filibustering. I'm just going to filibuster so that I can say the things that I want to say that sounded good to me when they told it to me. This is why I'm voting for him. And what you realize in the context of education and decency and debate, the reasons why you chose to vote for him were stupid, nonsensical, foolishness, puffy, shallow, marshmallow soft. And you come on a show to talk about it. You're disgusting. Here comes the filibuster, guys. Watch out for this when you talk to your peoples and you see these 2 things happening. The cult has got them.
You still, but hold up. You say let's take a case
or the
by
money.
case.
Suspect behavior and activity.
I'm taking a case by case.
Both parties.
No. I'm taking.
I mean, he's anti-institution.
Both parties
That's the
was able to
problem
do
that
it.
people have with him. That's the problem James has with him. That's the problem Bragg has with him. That's the problem Smith has with him. And that's the problem Willis has with him. That he is anti everything they love.
No, he's not.
Institution.
No, he's
They're
not.
very comfortable, right? And rightfully so. I'm not here to bash them or hate on them. God bless them. I love them.
But what you're doing is making stuff up.
That's it.
So again, though, you said out of your mouth he was being persecuted. You mentioned the 91 indictments.
You can't find
mentioned
the
the 4
answer
different
yet.
cases. I walk you through 2 of those. The judge has already ruled that Donald Trump and his Trump organization absolutely inflated their assets, which is against the law.
Get you a team box
Donald
cutter
Trump's
cut.
own accountants testified that they actually inflated. He even inflated the size of his own penthouse.
I just don't understand how people can't think for themselves. You got all.
And the very last, well, not the very last, the very last of the major tools that a cult member or a brainwashed sheep uses is called projection. So we have ignoring it altogether. That helps the cognitive dissonance. Just go move on to the next subject. Change topics. If you get held to the fire, filibuster. Talk about what you want to talk about and never answer. And the last point is projection. The man has just now brought to you a rebuttal for everything you've just said. And because you can't reply, you go, I don't understand why everybody's a sheep, while you, sir, are the sheep following along with a nose ring and a hook while they pull you. And you look around with the nose ring hooked in your nose and the iron hook pulling you. You look around and go, I don't know why everybody's a sheep. You have no answers. You have no reasons. You are the sheep. You don't have an answer for anything. You have no answer. I don't know. Wake up, brother.
Zombies walking around. You're telling me you got all these people walking that can't think for themselves, doing whatever's in their best interest for their own expedience and their careers. But every time it happens, it comes back to Donald.
Can you actually answer a question? Thank you for that one, Roland.
Donald Trump, throw him in prison, take all his assets, throw him under the bus, take him off the ballots.
Filibuster.
You don't think people can see this?
So you
filibuster.
So what you're saying is
this is anti-American.
Just bring up everything that convinced you. That you have no answers for the facts that are being brought up. Just bring up everything that you saw that convinced you. Unfortunately, you're stupid. You're ignorant. You're a low IQ buffoon. You're a fool. You're a clown. You're a clown amongst clowns. You're unintelligent. You're anti-intellectual. So the things that convinced you were stupid things. Because to a freaking fool and idiot, Donald Trump looks like a genius.
What you're saying is...
Get out the house, some. Read a book. You freaking idiot. Dummy. Crash test dummy. Plastic mannequin black man. Wow.
Actually, no, because there's a sign above the Supreme Court. It says equal justice under law. What you're saying is you don't mind a liar. What you're saying is you don't mind somebody making...
What did he lie about?
Donald Trump lied about the value of his assets. Donald Trump has lied about not trying to overturn...
Can I say something?
Hold on, Mark, I'm not done.
On that point, I just want to say, because you said he lied about the value of his assets. You're saying that he lied, his people are lying for him all the time. So what I'm saying is, if he's asking for 11,000 votes, if they're doing that, if he's asking people to make his property as lucrative and as attractive as possible, and these people are doing it, right? They're doing it. Whether they're doing it or not, that is their own personal...
No, you're wrong.
Wow. If he's asking you to lie, if he's asking you to commit a crime, and you do it, that's your fault. I'm still going to vote for the guy who asked you to do it. He's admitting that he just has to agree that the person he's endorsing has asked people to commit crimes, felonies against the United States and his own company. But it's not a big deal. Because him asking, well, I mean, yeah, you can excuse it. It's the ones who did it that were the problem, not the one who wanted it done. This is his excuse. This is what he came on Roland Martin with. He knew he was coming. This is his actual reason, guys, and he's not the only one. The actual reason is it doesn't matter what he did. I like him. It feels good. Things look weird. I don't like it. I need a daddy. And anything else that happens on the outside, that's everybody else's fault. Daddy?
And choice to do that. If he says, I'm looking for 11,000 votes,
you're absolutely...
I know people who have reached out to me, black people, who tell me that there has been all kind of fishy business going on.
You're lying. You're stuttering. Black people have reached out to me. You sound like Trump now. You've even taken on his personality, his diction. You're gross. Oh my God. You're mentally enslaved. You gross, indecent, uneducated representation of a race that should shun you in perpetuity for your lack of care, lack of preparation, for your need to be subjugated. You fool.
And Mark,
double voting, triple, quadruple,
you're lying.
Quintuple voting. No, I can tell you.
No,
you
are
reaching
out
to me, calling me. He's calling him Bill William Willis.
Bill William Willis.
And the Democratic.
I can tell you who. Bill William Willis. An unintelligent person. Listen, your baby, your 5-year-old, does that because he doesn't know how stupid it sounds. Because they haven't grown up yet. They have no wisdom. Their brain is still developing. When a grown man does that, you honestly gonna tell me that's okay? Bruce, Willis, William, I can name them all. They told me about the double, the triple, the quadruple voting. They told me. If you can't see through that, it's because your blinders are wrong. Because you too have been taken up by this cult. I'm showing it to you as a mirror. Please understand how you sound, how you look. That embarrassment that you feel is okay. It's important. It should drive you to change. To just move a little bit. Sit back a little bit. Step back a little bit and look at it with a different perspective. If you sound like this guy, who sounds more ignorant than a 5-year-old trying to lie to his parents about why he didn't clean his room, Willis, Bruce, I know them all. They told me about the quadruple voting. A 5-year-old does it because they're unintelligent. A 5-year-old does it because they have no reference. They're not done growing and learning yet. This guy stopped on purpose there.
Republicans. So you say,
oversight.
Oh my God, I see double voting.
That's what people are telling me.
But the Republicans in Georgia.
So I'm just saying,
Mark, wait a minute, Mark.
There's reason.
I'm going to finish, Mark.
There's reasonable
Mark, I'm going
doubt.
to finish. No, it's not. No, it's
That's
not.
all I'm saying.
When you have,
and you can't blame him for that. That's protected under our First Amendment right.
Are you literally making this up as you go along?
Yes.
So we don't have protected rights.
You do know. You do know.
We don't have the right freedom of speech.
You do know.
We don't have the right to
filibuster.
We don't have the right to keep ourselves quiet.
You cannot seize ballots.
We don't have the right
You cannot seize voting
not be sieged and surged.
That has nothing to do with seizing
not
ballots.
Be violent. We have rights in this
filibuster.
country.
I hear you.
And that's one of them. To speak our mind. Assembly.
Mark,
we have these rights.
Speaking your mind and lying. Aren't you a pastor?
I have a background in theology.
Okay, you got
a background.
A background in theology.
I have a background in theology. He was going to say degree. I'm going to show you again. He stopped short because he didn't want to lie.
Speaking your mind and lying. Aren't you a pastor?
I have a
You heard it. Watch this. This is what happens when you're trying hard to avoid cognitive dissonance and not having a conversation to learn or be better.
On the theology.
Okay, I got a what theology?
A background in theology.
Background in theology. Again, he says it. He stopped himself from saying degree. He said background. And then he said it again to make sure. I see you trying to catch me in a lie, Roland. You're not going to catch me. Background. Watch this.
I've never been a pastor.
Okay,
I preached. I taught Bible study.
Question.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So does the Bible,
I have a degree in theology.
that you actually
I have a
read?
degree in theology. He couldn't let it go. He saw the onslaught coming. His stupid, ignorant face felt the heat rush. Flush. I'm just going to lie here. You were doing so well, you stupid, ignorant Negro. You were doing so well with just being truthful and honest about your ignorance. I just have a background in theology. And you couldn't let it go. You said it twice. You stopped yourself from degree, said it twice. When he asked you again, you have a what in theology? A background. You said it plainly. And then as he kept talking, you're like, why not a degree? Why not a degree? He'll never know. Unfortunately, I do.
What does it say about lying?
It said all lies will find their place in the pit of hell with fornicators, homosexuals, liars.
All liars will find themselves in the pit of hell with fornicators and homosexuals. There's never been a verse like that in the Bible. You telling me you have a degree in theology and you couldn't read, you couldn't recite, not remember one single verse about lying, about the snake's tongue with the forked tongue, about dishonesty, about David or maybe Jeremiah? You couldn't find any. Not one. I'm not a pastor, but I could very easily answer the question if I had to. What does it say about lying? What you said was, this is what I think of Christianity, who I can hate, those fornicators and those this and that. Those are all the same thing because it's just a abstract idea to you. The reason why what you just told us, without telling us, that you're voting for Trump and you're a Republican, is because you're the type of Negro that likes to look down on others and hate on others. You're the type of Negro that thinks that that makes you a Christian when you can bash homosexuals and fornicators, even though we all know everybody fornicates because they're human beings. You, sir, are grosser than I thought.
I got a what theology?
A background in theology.
A background in theology. Does the
I've never been a pastor.
Okay,
I preached.
I just asked a question. Yeah. Okay, fine. So does the Bible, that you actually read, what does it say about lying?
It said all liars will find their place in the pit of hell with fornicators, homosexuals, liars, and all ungodly form.
Well, that must mean Donald Trump is sitting on a throne in hell because that man has just lied about numerous things.
Well, listen,
but hold up, I'm gonna ask you this question. You said that Trump has done more for the black community than any president. What has he done?
He's done a lot.
Name it.
Actually.
Name it.
And I'm surprised that most people don't really know.
No, I'm asking you to name it.
Okay.
Name it.
I'm going to. For starters, because this is important as an educated man, and $250 million annually has been allocated to HBCUs, which is big because I went to Hampton. No, it's not a lie. No, it's not a lie.
Stop. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
And minority serving schools.
I'm sorry.
But it's all together. It's for people of color.
Let me ask you a question, Mark.
90 million of it went to black schools.
Mark,
and not only that,
Mark, let me ask you a question.
It was about to be expired. He took the initiative to not let it expire. And not only that,
Mark, you're wrong.
Give it a 10-year stay where it was being done every year. He said, why do we have to keep coming back every year to get money?
Mark, what you just said right now is a lie.
What am I wrong?
Prove me wrong. The program that you're talking about started under President George W. Bush.
The president and CEO of the United Negro Fund thanked him publicly.
Will you please listen? See, again, though. When you're operating in an alternative world, I'm giving you for real facts. Let me say it again.
He did not thank him publicly.
Mark, listen.
The United Negro Fund president and CEO, Mr. Lomax, did not thank him publicly.
The program you're speaking of started under President George W. Bush. Mm-hmm. It continued under President Barack Obama. It expired. What you do not know is that Donald Trump zeroed that program out of his budget.
Just like everyone who's in a Republican state, and your senator came back to you and talked about how the bridges and the roads are getting done thanks to their work, they're lying. They voted against it, but brag about it when it comes around. And you black horse, you racehorse with a whip at your back, say, yes, Massa. Yes, Massa. I believe you did it. And never even asked who passed it, who wrote it. He was against it, but bragged about it after it passed anyway.
It was Congressman Alman Adams of North Carolina who put it back in the budget. He was the co-chair of the Congressional HBCU.
You're a Sambo. You're a clown. You're a blackface on the stage. If you think I'm being too harsh, you're wrong. Show me where he's answered a question that has changed your mind. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for part 2, analysis and breakdown of this interview, coming up on the next upload. Check it out.